Picture a young boy, wide-eyed and curious, poring over the Forbes billionaire list in a modest Canadian home. This wasn't just idle daydreaming for Chamath Palihapitiya. It was the seed of an audacious ambition that would shape his future. Born in Sri Lanka in 1976, Chamath's journey to North America began at the tender age of 5, when his father, a civil servant, was posted to the Sri Lankan High Commissioner in Ottawa. Little did young Chamath know that this move would be the first in a remarkable odyssey. Life took an unexpected turn when, instead of returning to Sri Lanka in 1986, Chamath's family sought asylum in Canada. His father, outspoken about the civil war back home, feared for his safety. Suddenly, the Palihapitiya family found themselves starting from scratch in a new country. Growing up wasn't easy. Chamath's father struggled with unemployment and alcohol, while his mother took on low-paying housekeeping jobs. At 14, determined to help his family, Chamath donned a Burger King uniform and started flipping burgers. But even as he navigated those challenges, his dreams remained supersized. Despite the hardships, Chamath excelled academically. He attended Lisgar Collegiate Institute and then the University of Waterloo, where he pursued electrical engineering. It was here that he laid the foundation of his future tech empire, though he probably didn't realize it at the time. After graduation, Chamath's career took off like a rocket. He started as a derivatives trader at BMO, Nesbitt Burn, but the siren call of Silicon Valley proved irresistible. He packed his bags and headed to California to work at Winamp, a move that would change the trajectory of his life. But here is a fun fact. While Chamath was building his tech career, he was also honing his poker skills. He has 3 World Series of poker cashes to his name, proving that his risk-taking abilities extend beyond the boardroom. While Chamath climbed the corporate ladder, he never forgot his roots. He often speaks about his unpronounceable name, joking that it's Chamath Palihapitiya or whatever. This self-deprecating humor, combined with his rags to riches story, has made him a relatable figure for many aspiring entrepreneurs, especially those from immigrant background. In a state of fate, the boy who once dreamed over the Forbes billionaire list would go on to become one of the most prominent venture capitalists in Silicon Valley. But that's a story for another day. For now, let's remember the young Chamath flipping burgers and dreaming big, unaware that he was laying the groundwork for an extraordinary future. When Chamath Palihapitiya's career in the tech industry began to take shape, it was like watching a rocket launch, swift, powerful, and awe-inspiring. His journey at Winamp was short-lived but pivotal. When AOL acquired the company, it was as if fate had opened the door, and Chamath, never one to hesitate, strode right through it. At AOL, Chamath's talent truly began to shine. Picture a young man, barely in his mid-20s, navigating the corridors of a tech giant with the confidence of a seasoned executive. His rise was meteoric. In what seemed like the blink of an eye, he became AOL's youngest vice president, heading the instant messaging division. It was in 2004, and instant messaging was the hardest thing in tech. Chamath was right at the center of it all, like a conductor orchestrating a digital symphony. But Chamath wasn't content to rest on his laurel. He was constantly learning, absorbing everything around him like a sponge. He often joked about his time at AOL, saying, "I learned more about what not to do than what to do." It was a crash course in corporate America, tech innovation and leadership, all rolled into one. However, as the saying goes, all good things must come to an end. By 2005, Chamath felt the itch of something new. The tech world was evolving rapidly, and he wanted to be at the cutting edge. Leaving AOL was like jumping off a moving train, exhilarating and terrifying in equal measure. But here's where Chamath's story takes an interesting turn. Instead of immediately diving into another big tech company, he took a brief detour to Mayfield Fund. It was like a pit stop in his career race, giving him a taste of the venture capital world that would later become his playground. Little did Chamath Chamath know that his next move would catapult him into the stratosphere of the tech world. A small, up-and-coming social media company called Facebook was about to change his life forever. But that's a story for another time. When Chamath left AOL, he carried with him not just experience, but a wealth of insights that would shape his future decisions. He had learned the importance of innovation and the power of user growth, and perhaps most importantly, the value of taking risks. These lessons would serve him well in all the years to come, and he continued his journey to become one of the most influential figures in Silicon Valley. In 2007, Chamath Palihapitiya stepped into the blue-tinged world of Facebook, a move that would change both his life and the trajectory of social media forever. Now imagine a young, ambitious Palihapitiya walking into Facebook's offices, ready to take on the role of VP of Growth, Mobile and International. Little did he know he was about to embark on a roller coaster ride that would see Facebook's user base skyrocket from a modest 50 million to an astounding 845 million by the time he left in 2011. At the heart of this explosive growth was Palihapitiya's relationship with Mark Zuckerberg. The two formed a dynamic duo, with Palihapitiya often marveling at Zuckerberg's ability to truly listen. I've never met anyone at such a young age who would truly listen, Palihapitiya would later recall. He doesn't need to talk a lot. He just sits there and listens. This synergy between Zuckerberg's vision and Palihapitiya's execution prowess became the rocket fuel that propelled Facebook into the stratosphere of social media giants. Under Palihapitiya's guidance, Facebook's growth strategies became legendary. He spearheaded initiatives that turned the platform into a global phenomenon, making Facebook a household name from Silicon Valley to Timbuktu. However, as Facebook's influence grew, so did Palihapitiya's unease. The platform he had helped build was becoming a behemoth, and he began to see the cracks in the foundation. In a moment of candid reflection years later, Palihapitiya would confess, "I feel tremendous guilt. We have created tools that are ripping apart the social fabric of how society works." This internal conflict would shape Palihapitiya's future acts. He began to distance himself from social media, refusing to use Facebook and even keeping his children away from it. "I can control my decision, which is that I don't use that," he declared bluntly. His words a stark contrast to the enthusiasm with which he had once grown the platform. As Palihapitiya's time at Facebook drew to a close, he left with mixed emotions. Pride in what he had achieved, but also a growing concern about the broader implications of social media on society. His journey from Facebook evangelist to social media skeptic serves as a poignant reminder of the double-edged sword that is technological progress. As the curtain fell on Chamath Palihapitiya's Facebook chapter in 2011, a new act was about to begin. With $60 million of his own money and a vision that would make most venture capitalists raise an eyebrow, Palihapitiya founded Social Capital. It wasn't just another VC firm, it was his declaration of independence. A bold statement that he was ready to reshape the investment landscape. Now there was Palihapitiya standing at the helm of his newly minted firm, eyes gleaming with the promise of what was to come. He wasn't interested in following the well-worn paths of Silicon Valley. No, his social capital was going to blaze its own trail, focusing on areas that other VCs had overlooked: healthcare, financial services, and education. It was as if Palihapitiya had a crystal ball, seeing potential where others saw only risk. The early days of Social Capital were nothing short of a whirlwind. Success came quickly, with the investment in companies like Yammer and Slack paying off handsomely. It was as if Palihapitiya had the Midas touch, turning startups into unicorns with a mere glance. By 2015, the firm was managing over $1.1 billion in assets, a testament to Palihapitiya's keen eye for potential and his ability to inspire confidence in both entrepreneurs and investors. But Palihapitiya wasn't content with just financial success. He wanted Social Capital to become a force for good, a vehicle to transform change. The firm's investment strategy reflected this ambition. vision, focusing on companies that were not just profitable, but also had the potential to solve significant world problems. With Barking's Swarm Technologies' mission to provide global internet access, to investing in Mitra Chem's innovative battery technology, Social Capital's portfolio read like a who's who of game-starting startup. Each investment was a carefully placed bet on the future, a declaration that technology could and should be used to make the world a better place. As Social Capital grew, so did its reputation. It wasn't just about the money anymore, it was about the vision. Entrepreneurs flocked to Palihapitiya, drawn by his unique blend of business acumen and social consciousness. In the high-stakes world of venture capital, Social Capital had carved a niche all its own, proving that it was possible to do well by doing good. He set his sights on a new horizon, founding his own venture capital firm, Social Capital, in 2011. There was Chamath, fresh from his Facebook success, standing at the edge of a new frontier, $60 million of his own money in hand, and a vision that would make most venture capitals raise an eyebrow. But as Social Capital grew, so did the controversies surrounding Chamath's unconventional approach and outspoken nature began to ruffle feathers in the traditionally staid world of venture capital. Delivered on the subtlety of a sledgehammer, made him both a polarizing figure and a media darling. One of the most significant controversies erupted when Chamath decided to stop taking money from outside investors in 2018, effectively turning Social Capital into his own personal investment vehicle. This move sent shockwaves through the VC world and left many questioning his long-term strategy. Adding fuel to the fire was Chamath's foray into the world of SPACs, the special purpose acquisition companies, which earned him the nickname of SPAC King. While initially hailed as innovative, this strategy later faced criticism, as some of the companies he took public through SPAC underperformed. That's not all. Chamath remained unapologetically himself, brash, bold, and always ready with a quotable soundbite. His journey with Social Capital became a roller coaster ride of highs and lows, successes and controversies, leaving the tech world watching with bated breath to see what this maverick investor would do next. Despite the controversies and challenges, his focus shifted toward long-term investments that could drive meaningful change. There was Chamath again, undeterred by the noise, doubling down on his commitment to invest in transformative technologies that address the world's most pressing problem. In recent years, Social Capital has honed its investment strategy, zeroing in on sectors like climate change, life sciences, and the decentralization of the digital economy through blockchain and digital assets. Chamath's approach is akin to a chess grandmaster, thinking several moves ahead, always with an eye on the future. His portfolio includes notable investments in companies like Relativity Space, which is revolutionizing global connectivity with innovative launch system, and Mitra Chem, which is pioneering AI-driven battery technology. Chamath's vision for Social Capital extends far beyond financial returns. He envisions the firm as a catalyst for global change, aiming to employ millions through the businesses it supports by 2045. This ambitious goal reflects his belief that venture capital can be a force for good, driving progress in areas that matter most to humanity. Despite the occasional storm, which as the recent firing of two partners over an AI startup deal, Chamath remains focused on the bigger picture, and therefore, from the bustling streets of Sri Lanka to the gleaming towers of Silicon Valley, Chamath Palihapitiya's journey reads like a modern-day fairy tale, albeit one with its fair share of plot twists and controversy. And there he was, a young boy, wide-eyed and ambitious, flipping burgers at Burger King to help his immigrant family make ends meet. Fast forward a few decades, and that same boy has become one of the most influential figures in the tech